The end of the 1980s introduced new fads, or short-lived trends that capture people's attention and enthusiasm. In 1988, action figures of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were produced and rose in popularity around the same time as the comic books and cartoons. The first Air Jordans were released in 1984, but increased in popularity through the rest of the 80s. In 1988, the Jumpman logo was introduced to the design. The next year, the Air Jordan 4 became the most sold version. Another toy that became popular was the Cush Ball, which was a little rubber ball with strings sticking out of it. The toy became available in 1989 and is still sold today. Also at the time was a slap bracelet, which captured the teens and preteens in 1990. It was made with a steel band encased in plastic, and when slapped onto the wrist, it would wrap around the user's arm. The Cabbage Patch Kids were dolls created by Xavier Roberts in 1978. In the 80s, especially during Christmas time, the Cabbage Patch Kids became very popular. Fashion trends from 1986 to 1991 consisted of very bold choices. These included big hairstyles and neon-colored clothing. Many memorable movies were made between 1986 and 1991. Not only have they showed the style of films, movies were evidence of technological development with the growth of animations and special effects. The following notable movies are Star Trek IV, 1986, RoboCop, 1987, Tintoy, 1988. The animated short film won the Oscar for Best Animated Short Film. Produced by Pixar, the work indicated the perfecting of computer animation and graphics. The film would later inspire Disney's Toy Story. Batman, 1989. The new depiction of Batman wearing black rubber armor contrasted with the traditional Adam West's gray Batman. Dances with the Wolves, 1990. Beauty and the Beast, 1991. This memorable film was part of Disney's so-called Renaissance.
Shut up!
Don't kill me, man!
I'm not going to kill you. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
Music from these years contains many songs considered to be classics and singers who were pop culture icons. There was a wide range of genres during this time, from slow love ballads to upbeat electronic dance music, hard rock, hip-hop, and much more. Some of the most recognizable songs include Kiss by Prince, 1986, I Wanna Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston, 1987, Faith by George Michael, 1988, Like a Prayer by Madonna, 1989, It Must Have Been Love by Roxette, 1990, Black or White by Michael Jackson, 1991. Late 80s into the 90s were filled with a great deal of legendary players and games that would make history in American sports. These 6 years of thrilling seasons would keep sports fans on their toes. And now for the 80s sports!
Da-na-na, da-na-na.
1986, the New York Mets won the World Series against the Boston Red Sox. 1987, Magic Johnson makes his famous skyhook shot in Game 4 of the NBA Finals. 1988, Wayne Gretzky was traded from the Edmonton Oilers to the LA Kings. 1989, the San Francisco 49ers defeated the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl. 1990, the Cincinnati Reds swept the Oakland Athletics in the World Series. 1991, the women's soccer team won the first FIFA Women's World Cup.
And it's going to go to the backstop. Here comes Mitchell to score the tying run, and Ray Knight is at second base. Two to Mookie Wilson, and he pops it in the air foul off to the right. Gedman coming over is at second base with 2 out. 3-2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Commercials featured the growing amount of consumer products in this time period. There was the use of catchy songs, phrases, and iconic figures in these advertisements, some of which are remembered and notable for the following. Kit Kat Jingle, 1986. The simple, catchy jingle for the Kit Kat, entitled Give Me a Break, easily got stuck in people's heads and popularized the candy. Your Brain on Drugs, PSA, 1987. A short public service announcement named Frying Pan, warning against the dangers of drugs, was released in this year. Coca-Cola Commercial, 1988. The soda's advertisement included the song First Time by Robin Beck playing in the background. Energizer Bunny, 1989. In this year, the first video with the pink drum-playing Energizer Bunny appeared, advertising the battery that claimed to last longer than all others. Nike Announcers and Athletes, 1990. This commercial won first in the USA Today Super Bowl ad meter. McDonald Mike's Story, 1991. In the ad, Mike Sewell tells his inspiring story as an employee at McDonald's with Down syndrome.
Don't be fooled by commercials where one battery company's toy outlasts the others. The fact is, Energizer was never invited to their playoffs because nothing outlasts the Energizer. They keep going and going.
Stop the bunny, please.
And going and go.
The painting, Renoir. The vase, Ming. And the wine, Chateau Marmoset. When only the best will.
Like we said, nothing outlasts the Energizer. They keep going and going and going and going and going.
From 1986 to 1991, a majority of shows on television were dramas and sitcoms, the latter bringing a comedic tone to familiar situations in the average family. Viewers were able to connect with the ideals built up by these shows. Among these memorable TV shows are 1986, The Cosby Show. Centralized around an upper-middle-class African-American family, this show was ranked as #1 for 5 straight seasons, with the highest ratings in 1986. 1987, Family Ties. 1988, Roseanne. 1989, The Simpsons. 1990, Full House. And 1991, Home Improvement.
That gentleman over there needs an agent.
How does he look?
Not bad.
Send him in.
Okay. Mrs. Firestone, see you right over there.
Hello, Mrs. Firestone.
Do you have any experience?
No, but I look good.
I'll be the judge of that. Now, you're doing a layout for a new men's cologne. You're leaning on a sports car, very masculine. Let me see that. Not bad. Now, give me the look of someone who just won a $10 million sweepstakes. Nice. Now, let me see. A new father who's holding his baby boy for the very first time.
Goo.
The second half of the 1980s featured several advances in the medical field. The contributions of the following scientists would improve the health of the American people. In 1986, Stanley Cohen and Rita Levi-Montalcini won a Nobel Prize for discovering growth factor. Their work was completed in the 50s and eventually led to a greater understanding of diseases associated with how cells develop into complex organ systems. With heightened fear during the AIDS epidemic in the 80s came more research into the disease. In the year 1987, the FDA approved Zidovudine, or AZT, for future treatment of HIV and AIDS. From 1986 to 91, blood-transmitted infections caused by needle stick injections was a prevalent issue. Becton Dickinson's BD safety lock in 1988 brought about the first safety-engineered syringe, decreasing the risk of receiving these infections. Finally, in 1990, the Human Genome Project was launched officially. Its research focused on identifying the sequences of genes in human DNA to increase our understanding of genetic factors in diseases.
The 1980s and 90s had developed more innovations for automobiles. New cars were more compact and had flush features. They had more power, exceeding 200 and some over 300 horsepower, better traction, and fuel efficiency after environmental concerns in 1973. In addition, commercial airbags and navigation were more common. The following featured will show 1986 Honda Accord, a compact design for a sedan. 1987 Porsche 944 Turbo. The first car with stock airbags. 1988 Audi 5000. 1989 Acura Legend Coupe. 1990 Honda Civic. 1991 Chevrolet Corvette, the first car to exceed 300 horsepower. The celebrities of the period include artists, musicians, authors, athletes, actors, and entrepreneurs. Their work had a notable impact in popular culture. Their impact also reflects individualism, their style, and American achievement. The following include: Madonna releases her album True Blue, 1986. Along with her best-selling album, she had her unique fashion sense. Michael Jackson releases his album Bad, 1987. Also known as the King of Pop, and his music was popular worldwide. Steve Jobs introduces the next computer, 1988. Even after being kicked out of his own company, Jobs continues his innovation. Michael Jordan makes the shot, 1989. Jordan clutched a victory for the Bulls, beginning his superstardom in the sport. Eric Wright, or Eazy-E, and NWA released 100 Miles and Running, 1990. These were the pioneers of gangster rap and hip-hop music. Jodie Foster stars in Silence of the Lambs, 1991. Graduated from Yale University, this actress won Academy Awards for her work. Technological advancement grew continuously, with the new digital age rising. New console systems started making home-operated video games and activities more popular. New technology also sprouted an appreciation for science as depicted in science fiction films. The NES, or Nintendo Entertainment System, originally came from Japan, was released in America in 1986. The NES rose in popularity with Donkey Kong and Super Mario Bros. The household device would replace arcade systems. In 1988, the World Wide Web was introduced, making the internet more accessible. It allowed for sites and resources to be encrypted into URLs. In 1989, 9 Block 2 satellites were successfully sent up into space. This developed navigation and the GPS. Finally, in 1990, the Hubble Space Telescope was launched into Earth's orbit. Although it was a vital tool for scientific research, the pictures taken were breathtaking and could be marveled by anybody.